I have another word for you. Your enemies could have escaped their own demise had they left you alone when God instructed them to. But because they allowed the enemy to run rampant within their mind and within their spirit, they will run straight into their own demise. Your enemies were constantly going out of their way to try to mess things up and sabotage you and your life. They were constantly gossiping about you, lying on your name, talking poorly about you behind your back, defamation of character, trying to cause conflict and strife within your life and conflict and strife within you and connections that you have with other people. They were trying to stir up, they were trying to stir up division with people that you were close with, whether this was friends, whether this was family, whether this was people in an organization, whether this was your peers, your classmates, your coworkers, anybody that you had connections with. Your enemies were doing whatever it is that they could to try to stir up division within you and these groups of people, because your enemies wanted to see you just down in the dumps and lonely and alone and having nobody around you, no love. They wanted nobody to like you. They wanted nobody to respect you. They wanted nobody to think that you were a good person. They wanted everybody to see you in such a bad and negative light. But let me tell you, the hole that they dug for you is the same hole that they will fall into. The very things that they spoke against you in your life is the very thing that's going to smack them in their life. It's not going to just come. It's not going to just creep up. No, it's going to listen. They won't see it coming. It's going to be like creep, and then boom, it's going to smack them. It's going to smack them out of nowhere, because what's going to happen is karma hits you 10 times worse when you least expect it. And you see, God had instructed them to leave you alone, because you don't mess with the chosen one. You don't mess with God's child. You don't mess with you. You're so divinely protected. And the thing is, God was telling them to leave you alone, not just for your sake, chosen ones, but for theirs. Because God's like, baby, you don't want the smoke. You don't want what's going to come to you if you keep messing with my child. You don't want these consequences. You don't want this. But here's the thing. They were so far removed from God that they didn't even realize that this was God speaking to them, because they were constantly listening to the enemy telling them, no, go ahead, because it feels good, right? They had no idea that they were being used by the enemy. So because they chose their master, it's too late for them now. They're going to run into their own demise. So please pray for their enemies that God has mercy on their soul.